Hello and happy Saturday, all. I'm thrilled to be live on our account today for American Diabetes Month. For everyone who is joining, my name is Abby Bornemeyer, and I'm the Social Media and Digital Events Manager here at the American Diabetes Association. And today I am joined by our very special guest, Briana Hernandez. Get ready to learn and be inspired and learn how diabetes hits different for Briana. Now I would like to introduce you all to Briana. Briana, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being part of this Hits Different talk for American Diabetes Month. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, everyone is here and ready to connect with you and just learn about your journey with diabetes. So, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, that would be awesome.
So, I'm Briana. I live in South Florida and I'm 30 years old. I have had diabetes for 22 years. I have one son that's 9 years old, two dogs, and I've been married for almost 10 years now. Running and exercising is definitely my hobby, and I work two jobs. So one of them is a medical job, and then the other one is my own business. So yeah,
That's
a lot
awesome.
to me.
You are busy, Brianna.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about what your diagnosis was like 22 years ago? And do you remember what was going through your mind at the time when you were diagnosed? I know you were pretty young at the time.
I was pretty young. I was 7 going on 8 years old. I was actually admitted to the hospital for about a good week. Back then, diabetes was not really so common or so well heard of. So a lot of people were very confused as to what it was or how to respond to it. The technology was nothing like we have today, definitely. So it was a very traumatic experience for my family and myself. I just remember thinking, like, is this going to be forever? Am I not going to be able to have the cake when I want, or the candy when I want, or the soda when I want? So it just hit me as a child and it made me grow up a little bit faster. Definitely.
That's hard. I know, being a kid is already hard enough, and to have this diagnosis then come upon you, it's like, what is this? What do I do?
Yes.
Did
Super confusing time.
For sure. Did anyone in your family have diabetes, or was this kind of new then for you and your family?
This was totally new. No one in my family is diabetic. I was I'm basically still the only one. Besides the fact of course, like type 2 is in my family, but type 1 is, especially juvenile, is not in my family. So it caught everybody by surprise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was hard too for your parents to hear that as well, and to
Oh, yeah.
to go through that because it doesn't just affect the person living with it. It affects everyone, the whole family.
Oh, definitely. It still affects my mom to this day, and I'm 30 years old. So,
Ah,
yeah.
well, no, so it is diabetes is a journey, and but I'm sure though it's in a good way. Your parents though and everyone, they're all there to support you and on your journey. So I'm sure it's in a good way, though. That's good.
Definitely. Yes.
What would you say are some physical and mental challenges that you've faced over the years as a result of your diabetes?
Physical challenges after having my son a little bit over 9 years ago. I actually, my body went completely out of whack. I was diagnosed with extreme fatty liver, almost like cirrhosis, high cholesterol, just my liver functions, my diabetes, my A1C was just up there in like 11s and 12s. It was just a complete nightmare. So I ended up completely changing the way that I live my life. I found a hobby of running, and I overcame it. And I was able to get rid of everything and to control everything. And on my own, just with exercise and diet and weight and everything combined together, it was just a definite life experience, physical, mental. I mean, diabetes takes such a toll on our mental health because we're constantly being told that we have to be within range and we have to be perfect. But I think the day that I accepted that no matter what, we're not going to be perfect, but we're going to try to be. And we're not going to keep judging ourselves like outside people do. We're just going to continue fighting and pushing through. And I kind of have this thing that I tell myself for my own mental health is I'm thriving and I'm surviving.
I love that.
Because and it like rhymes. I find it to be so cute. But it's seriously true. So many people judge you. So that takes a lot of your mental health and just constantly being, you know, if your sugar is high, you have a headache or you're very thirsty. And it's like, what are you doing at the time and how it's affecting you like that? Whether you're working, exercising, taking care of your son, helping him with his homework. So it just, you have to take it one thing at a time. You really can't stress over it. And the days that I find myself at wit's end is the days that I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat a whole bunch of stuff that I don't have to do insulin for. And I'm going to just eat the ham or eat, you know, chicken or salmon or things like that that I know are good on carbs and stuff like that and kind of reset my body. But I used to judge myself a lot. And that really played a toll on my mental and my physical health because I was constantly stressed out about wanting to be perfect and wanting to be within range. So you kind of have to thrive and survive.
Thriving and surviving. I really like that saying though, and I think it's inspirational for so many people because there is so much pressure, and even like with family members or friends telling you like, hey, you shouldn't be eating that or you shouldn't be doing this. Did you check your numbers? You know, you don't, I mean, you have to manage your diabetes obviously and take care of yourself, but also no one is perfect at the same time, and you don't want to allow that to take a huge toll on your mental health. So that's super important, and I'm really glad that you did say that.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I have met, at least I have very two close friends that are diabetic. We went to high school with each other and we are constantly venting to each other about our endocrinologist and our families and our friends that are constantly like, well, why are you eating the cake and why are you doing this and questioning everything. And it's just kind of like a lack of knowledge on their end. And you truly don't know what it feels like until you're in the shoes. So it's really, number one, it's educating the person asking because, you know, constantly I'm being asked, like, why do you have to do that? And why do you have to do this? So I take it as a opportunity to really educate someone so that maybe they can pass on the information and everyone can be more educated about diabetes and diet and the way insulin works. And it's just, I mean, it's complicated, but maybe to be a little bit nicer sometimes with the comments they have to say. But every diabetic goes through this and it's just so difficult to deal with. And you have to have crocodile skin to pull through it sometimes. And it's taken maybe, I would say more than 22 years because I'm still working on myself. And I'm still, there's some days that I'm like, man, that person really put me down. But, you know, I have to keep reminding myself, like, okay, this is just one bad day. Tomorrow's going to be a totally different um, way that I'm going to interpret it. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to do my regular routine. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and it's going to be a brand new day because everybody has an off day. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And, through these talks and everything that we're doing throughout American Diabetes Month, like we really do want to focus all on educating people because, I mean, not everyone does know truly what diabetes is. And, there is that stigma around it. And that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to break that stigma, through having these real conversations with real people and everything and trying to educate people because, knowledge is power and not everyone knows yet
Yes.
what it is. And so I think once they hear stories from people, it might click a little bit more for them. And hopefully then they can share some of that information with people as well, just so that people know you're not alone as well. And, like you said, too, just because you have one bad day, maybe with comments from someone or not feeling the support that you deserve, tomorrow is a new day. So I am glad you said that. Very important for everyone watching to know.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you did talk a little bit about, how you manage your mental health with support from other people and through running. Could you talk a little bit more about that and like what it does do for you and how you got involved in running, maybe? That would be great.
So this is the best story ever. um Back in 2013 I had my son. So now he's 9. He just turned 9 about a month ago, and my diabetes went out of whack. My whole body went out completely whack. Um my liver, I was diagnosed with extreme fatty liver, high cholesterol. My A1C was literally pushing 12, almost 13. Like it was bad. Just I felt lethargic the whole time. My sugars would not come down. I was overweight by about 20 pounds, which I am a little person. I am 5 feet tall. So 20 pounds is, at least for myself, it was a lot at the time. I had just had my son, but I needed to lose the weight and I needed to find a way to shut it off and to get my energy back. I have this joke with a lot of my friends, and I call myself, I have crackhead energy. And I've always had that. I am the person that can wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and be up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning with no nap and just go, go, go. And I love that about myself. So I had lost that in that time. So one day I'm at work and I find somebody with like a Run Disney shirt on. And I'm like, Disney, running, what? And I asked the patient about it, and he was telling me all about Run Disney and how you run through the parks and you can do all these distances. And I signed up. I signed up for my first half marathon in 2015, and I started training for it. I followed the plan on the website, and I lost my 20 pounds. I got my life back. My energy, my liver enzymes went away from being elevated, of course. And I just felt like myself again. And I got addicted very quickly to Run Disney because they do their sporting events so perfectly, at least in my eyes. It is pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but I literally work to run. And it motivates me to keep going and to keep training and to keep fit, to cross train, to do my bike, my standard elliptical bike, um, or to run outside, or to just do like a warm up and stretching and stuff like that. It keeps me active, knowing that I have an event coming up, a race coming up. It just keeps me going. And I have found that if I don't keep something at least on my calendar, I fall behind. So I always make sure that I have something on my calendar, pushing me to really get up and say, oh no, I just worked like a 9-hour day. I have to go home and clean. But no, I'm too tired to work out. No. On the contrary, I have something to look forward to and to train for, to make sure that I'm ready for. So I have to push myself out of that I'm so tired mindset. So running has truly changed my life. I have done, with this exception of this past week, I have now done 42 Run Disney races alone, not including local. And I'm pretty darn proud of it. and I don't plan to stop. And it's something that gets addicting. But it's exercise. And for a diabetic, as you probably know, exercise is the best medicine. It lowers your sugar. It gives you just so many happy feels at the end when you're done. And it makes you feel like you are on top of the world, like you can complete anything. And I feel like a lot of diabetics need to feel like that, like what we call runner's high.
Mhm.
And at first, of course, I didn't start being your average 9 minute per mile person, but I still consider myself to be a runner, and anybody can, as long as you have the guts to do it. And as long as you have the discipline and the want up here, you can do it. So I'm
Wow.
addicted. I'm
That's
totally
so cool.
addicted.
So were you a big Disney fan before doing Run Disney? Did part of what got you motivated to do these runs, besides, seeing the shirt, was it because you're also a Disney fan as well?
Oh, yes. I
Yeah.
have been a Disney fan my entire life.
Oh,
So when I saw like the Disney and the running together, I was like, I need that.
like, this is the perfect combination.
Yes, it's the perfect excuse to go to Disney.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's so cool.
it was awesome.
Wow. Well, you should be really proud of yourself, and we definitely are very proud of you. I mean, that is amazing.
Thank
So
you.
you've done 42 Disney runs so far. That is so cool. Very
It's
inspiring.
and I don't plan to stop. And anybody that does it will probably be just like me or worse. Um, it just makes you feel good, and it just gives you all these happy feels on it. Like it just is so addicting, truly. And running is even not even Run Disney, but like running in general is just so good for you. It gets your heart pumping, it's good cardio, and it just works out your whole body. So that's why I wanted to stick with the running.
That's awesome. So I'm sure people too who are watching, some people might be living with diabetes and might
Yeah.
be curious too about getting more involved with physical activity or running. So, how do you manage your diabetes when you're doing these long runs?
I am so happy that you asked me that. So I'm actually going to bring up a little bit of a scare, because I like to share just everything, not just the picture perfect stuff.
Mhm.
Especially like with social media wanting to be all perfect and all. It's not. We are not perfect. So about a month ago, and I've been on my pump. Here's my pump. I've been on the Omnipod for the past almost 5 months now, and it has been a complete struggle to find out what's the perfect basal rate for me while I'm exercising. So when I typically exercise, it's not your typical walk. It's very intense cardio, or I'm on the bike, the standard bike, for example, with a resistance of high 80s. So I really push myself, and I really want to break a sweat, and I really love testing myself. So getting back to that, about a month ago, I had such a low blood sugar that lasted literally 2 hours. I had back to back sodas, juices, glucose tabs, you name it, I had it, and my sugar would not go up. And so finally, I was literally about to lose consciousness, and my husband had to call 911 on me, and I almost lost consciousness. I wasn't responding, but I knew what was going on around me. So luckily, they just gave me a shot of some dextrose there, and they kind of brought me back. As soon as they kind of loaded me down from the truck, I kind of started waking up away and like kind of able to talk, but I was still aware of what was going on. It was like an out of body experience. And I've been struggling and dealing with some very personal demons when it comes to exercising and going low. and going low like 10 minutes into my workout. So I wasn't able to completely finish my workout, and that alone frustrated me. And I found myself in such a dark, dark hole. And it was so bad, and I was just so frustrated. Um, so finally, I was able to just get myself at a place with my endocrinologist where I said, okay, what if I just turn off my pump while I'm exercising? Because at this point, any little basal rate that I was putting still had me going low. So it would just prevent me from exercising and feeling good after exercising. So I was I was not a happy camper. So finally that was fixed, and I'm so happy because this past weekend I ran 22 miles with low blood sugar. So I was
That's
so
awesome.
happy. And of course, I was eating my Skittles and, drinking my water and checking my sugar throughout the races. And it was such a sense of relief. I cried with my friends because they knew what I was going through. And the team that randomly we all joined each other on the race course um, was like, wow, you didn't have any lows. Like, you did it. And they got me through it. One of them got me the water. The other one made sure that my sugar was good. Like, everybody was always on top of me at all times. So I am blessed to have people that supported me that way. And it felt amazing to have that support and no lows.
That's
So,
awesome.
yay!
And you had that support system too, which is that's awesome to have that as well when you're doing these things. Having people that you can count on who are going to be watching you every step of the way. That's so encouraging and awesome. And I mean, it's scary. It's scary too, the experience that you faced, but going forward too, it seems like you have a little bit more of a plan now in place, and you know what to do and what to expect when you're feeling those sorts of ways. And if there's a time too where you can't finish something, to like, don't let that make you feel down, because like you said, we're not all perfect, and sometimes our bodies just need a little bit more rest, and we have to listen to them. So I
You're
think
totally right.
that's
You are totally right.
thank you so much, though, for sharing that story, both of those stories. I think it's important
Thank
for
you.
people to see, both sides of it, because, I mean, there are so many struggles living with diabetes, and it's important to share, the ups and the downs with it.
I
So,
couldn't agree with you more.
well, so we've been talking a lot about, different changes and things you've experienced with your diabetes. But is there anything else that you've witnessed change-wise over the last 22 years since you've been diagnosed with diabetes? Was there a moment in particular that made you realize maybe that your diabetes is different than it was when you were 7 going on 8 years old?
Oh, definitely. Um, so before I would eat different foods or I would do different things that would just shoot up my blood sugar. And now it's like I kind of know what to do and what foods affect me more than they used to. And like anything white, I can't eat. If not, my sugar will be in the 300s in about an hour. So white rice, white pasta, white bread, things like that will definitely shoot up my sugar. Um, it's actually better for me to have, you know, an ice cream versus like a mango, because mango will do the same thing to me. And these are things that I didn't know that affected me back then, but now I do know. And food was a major thing. Food has always been a major factor for me, and also the way that I exercise is different. I was in dance class when I was 7, 8 years old. So now that I run like for exercise purposes, now it's like, okay, you have to kind of watch it because you're not just like dancing, little tutu ballet. No, it's cardio, and it's intense cardio. So I really have to make sure that I'm eating and stopping my pump an hour before, and really being disciplined with it, because if not, it'll just be a whole big mess. Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. No, I'm glad though too that you shared a little bit about how over the years too you've realized, what you can and can't, what your body can handle and what it can't. I
Yeah.
think it's so important too, just over time to figure those things out. And that's something too, like when you're first diagnosed, you're not going to know that necessarily. You're going to find out those things over time. So it's important. And people
Yeah.
too who are just newly diagnosed, you're not going to know that, like we said. You're not going to know that right away. So don't stress yourself out on it. But, the more you live with diabetes, the more it becomes part of your routine. You'll figure those things out just like Briana did. Um, so Brianna, also too. So we were just talking a little bit now about, newly diagnosed. So that brings me to my next question. What advice would you give someone being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes today, or the parents of someone newly diagnosed?
Find people that are in the same shoes as you and vent to each other.
That's so important.
Because if you're not able to vent, you're not able to get your frustrations out, and you are not able to express yourself. And diabetes is something, especially for a parent, because I am one now myself, and I understand my mom, how she was, how when I was diagnosed at 7, 8 years old. You need to vent,
Mhm.
and you need to get all those frustrations out, and really find a community and friends that you stay in touch with. Maybe go to lunch once a month, or every other week, and really like touch base and say, can you believe my endo told me this, and can you believe this happened to me, and just have it go back and forth, because we mentally need that. Diabetes is something that you can't really set an alarm and then you wake up whenever you want. It's something that is stressful. You lose sleep over it. If your body just decides, let's have a low blood sugar in the middle of the night, then your whole day the next day is thrown off, because you're so tired from that low blood sugar in the middle of the night. And finding the community like yours and really talking about it really helps. Finding what motivates you also will also help. Um, you are blessed as well if you are newly diagnosed with diabetes these days. And I know you're like, what are you talking about? You're blessed. You have the best technology out there these days. You have sensors, you have pumps that are tubeless. When I was diagnosed, the pumps had tubes, and you would get wrapped around in them while you were sleeping, and you would have to disconnect it while in the shower and go to the beach or the pool. And it's gotten such better technology, um that it's just like we're blessed to be able to look at a monitor and say, oh, my blood sugar is this, instead of constantly pricking our fingers and damaging our fingers, and constantly being like thinking, oh, I wonder what my sugar is. Well, you can just look up and look at your meter. So for a newly diabetic, it's hard. It's freaking hard, because it is, your whole life changes. Your whole personality might change too. It makes you grow up like a lot and fast, especially if you are probably a young adult or a teenager or even a kid. Even a parent, your whole life changes as a parent. You're constantly monitoring your kid even more, like a hound. And that adds more stress on both you as a parent and a child, or even the newly diagnosed person, because you are constantly thinking, what's going to happen to me now? But at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. And you're going to figure it out, and you're going to find your way through, and you're going to make diabetes work for you. You're not going to let diabetes get in the way of anything else, because I sure as heck didn't. And it's something that you just have to push through every day, and just know that you have to push through, and that's it. And as long as you're okay with that, then it's fine. It's like having a full-time job. And it's taking care of yourself and taking deep breaths. And I hope I covered it all because that's exactly how I feel.
Oh, no, that was amazing, and you also too answered what my last question was gonna be too,
Oh, I'm so
which was
sorry.
no, that's perfect, which was how do you think diabetes is different today? And I think, I mean, it's so important what you were saying too about the technology. It's so different, from when you were younger to now. I mean, still scary. It doesn't take away that aspect, but I mean, things are getting so much better and things are continuing to evolve. And I think we're only going to go farther as we, keep going forward, which is really great. But I like how you said too, you're not alone, and find that support system, find that group of people who care about you and want to support you and help you on your journey, because you can't keep those things kept inside. You can't keep it inside. No one can. It just wears on you and makes things harder. So, talk with other people. There's a whole community out there, willing to support you every step of the way. And here
Absolutely.
too at the ADA, we're only arm's reach away. Send us a message on Instagram, or reach out online on our website. We have our blog page. I highly encourage all of you to share your story, just like Briana did. You can also do that by visiting diabetes.org/blog, and just let us know what your journey with diabetes has been like. We're
Yes,
always here to listen. So, well, well,
definitely.
thank you, Briana. This has been
Thank
amazing.
you.
And just a few takeaways too as we wrap up. If you're living with diabetes, it doesn't change who you are as a person. You are still you. Brianna's Brianna, and she is still chasing her dreams. She is doing amazing things out there, and you can still do that too. And I know we say it a lot here at the ADA, but like, diabetes is a journey, and no journeys are the same. So that's why it's so important to find that support system.
Definitely.
um, but yeah, reach out to us anytime. Especially, there's no better time to reach out than now, which is American Diabetes Month. This month, throughout the rest of the month, we'll be sharing additional stories. You'll get to hear from a lot of different people, a lot of different voices, about the hardships, but also about the journeys and the new experiences that people have faced over the years of living with diabetes. So it'll all be right here. And I encourage all of you to also visit diabetes.org/hits different, to also learn how you can get involved with this month's activations. But Briana, thank you so much. And we would love to have you back on again, to update us all on your exciting Disney runs and adventures. But for now, thank you, Briana, and
Thank
thank you for
you.
everyone for taking time out of your busy Saturday and weekend just to listen and connect with us. We're so thankful to have had you share your story, Briana, and I
Thank
hope
you.
everyone listening has been inspired, just like I have been. But thank you so much, and
Thank you for
have
having
a great weekend. And until then, bye.
me. Bye.